Hey guys, welcome back to codyTV. Cody here. Um, Tonight I want to talk about a show on Netflix called The Chosen. Now, I don't know how many people out there have seen it. I know that it's a big hit, and a friend of mine recommended it to me. So I thought, well, why not? I'm always up for trying out a new show, and I thought I would try out The Chosen. The Chosen is based on the life of Jesus Christ, and we get to see how his life was lived um, through according to his disciples. Um, Biblically, it is said to be accurate. I haven't tried to compare notes between the series and the Bible itself yet. Um, I don't really want to right now because I'm enjoy I'm just enjoying the show so much. It's a great series. I'm not even going to talk about the actors or who they are. I just want to talk about the show. Um, so far, I'm only watching season one, and it's really great. Um, I don't spend a lot of time in church myself. As a matter of fact, the last time I went to church was before I went back to work full time, and that only lasted for a few months, I think, and I'm not even sure when that was. That might have been 4, maybe 5 years ago. But I'm wanting to get back into it, wanting to try it again. Except the only problem is, being a night owl, such as I am, it's difficult because I don't go to bed until 6:30. 6:30, sometimes 8 o'clock in the morning. So yeah, it's complicated. Um, and you don't see churches around here anymore that have services at 5 in the afternoon anymore, or 7, which would make things a lot easier for me. So, um, yeah, there are complications about it. But anyway, season one has been really great because you're getting to know everybody that is Jesus' disciples, and we go from Mary Magdalene to Simon to Matthew and Andrew. Um, and we also get introduced to other characters such as Nicodemus, who I think was a Pharisee, and he was so taken by Jesus performing miracles and not asking for anything in return, and doing the things that he did. Um, how he freed a possessed woman of her demons, and I'm talking about Mary Magdalene. Um, how he freed her from that, and this whole thing got back to Nicodemus, who made the mistake of thinking that he had released her from her demons, which was, not. It was not him. It was Jesus who did that. So Nicodemus becomes really involved in the idea of wanting to follow Jesus, and he gets so close to doing it. And unfortunately, he gets so close, but he's still so far away because he's wanting to protect his reputation. He's wanting to stay on good terms with his wife. So he basically decides to choose his standing in the community and his standing with his wife over being able to follow Jesus. So that is a sad thing. And I watched this poor guy struggle through it in season one. And in the end, the only thing that he could really do to show that he supports Jesus and his disciples was leave them a bag of money. Now I forgot whether it was gold or silver. I think it was gold. I don't quite remember. But they picked it up, took it with them, as far as I remember. And Nicodemus was standing in an alley or just around the corner from them. And this poor guy is crying because he wanted to follow Jesus. He wanted to give up his standing in society. Wanted to tell his wife, "Hey, look, I want to do this. I want to go. I want to follow this guy. He's the Messiah. He's convinced me." And he did. Jesus convinced Nicodemus that he was the Messiah. Not a problem. Except for Nicodemus, it was a problem because his pride unfortunately meant too much. His pride won over his desire to follow somebody who actually knew the truth. And Jesus knew the truth. Jesus knew the bigger picture because that was a very large reason why he was there. It was not just to save man from his sin. It was also to present the bigger picture that was waiting for the people at the time, as well as the people today. And you also have other characters that decided to follow Jesus. You have, after Mary Magdalene was freed of her demons, and the demons were sent running, she had no problem. She had no problem following Jesus, and she was also financially secure. And I was, well, where did that come from? How was she financially secure? But there are still details about her that are considered controversial. There are those who say that uh, say that she was a prostitute in the Bible. Okay, she might have been, but if the Bible says that she was possessed by demons, then I'm not going to argue with the Bible either. Um, I think Mary Magdalene, her story is conflicted and compared to an awful lot of things because you have a lot of different people who say they read the Bible and they know what she really was. Mary Magdalene, she was a prostitute, she was a harlot, she's going to hell. And then you have the others who say that she was possessed by demons. Now, if she was possessed by demons, all right. If it says so in the Bible, I'm not going to argue with it. But these other people are all too happy to argue with it. And I don't think that's very cool, because you can't you can't take the truth and twist it around so that it fits your own agenda. And I think that's what too many people do. They take the Bible, twist it around until it does fit their agenda, and then they use it. And in a bizarre sort of way, they kind of corrupt the idea of what's in the Bible and what is not in the Bible, is what I think. And I think they do a great job of doing that rather than let it be the truth and let people know what the truth is in the Bible. These other people just decide, okay, we're going to mix things up. We're going to treat it like Disney woke. We're going to send everybody running and say what we want to say that's in the Bible, whether it's true or not. We're going to take a chance. We're going to rule the world. Yay. Hey now, my boyfriend's back. Whatever. But the thing is, the Bible is the Bible, no matter where you read it. You read the Bible, and once you get the truth of the things that are and the things that are not, and once you get the truth for yourself, then how are you going to argue with it? This may sound kind of naive coming from me, but I can live with being naive. Ouch. Sorry. Um, But the Bible that I grew up with, I believe to tell me the truth. You know, and if people accept that and they like that, okay, that's great, that's cool. If they don't, well, okay. Everybody else seems to have their own perception of the Bible and what the truth is and who Jesus was and all of this, and they have to figure out the truth for themselves, whether they're going to listen to the Bible, which is what you ought to do anyway, or if they're going to interpret the Bible as something else, as saying something else, and then they're going to decide for themselves that that's the truth. I mean, okay, if you really want to do that, that's up to you. As for myself, I I take it, I take it as the Bible telling me the truth, mostly because I don't want to make God mad. That is a woodshed session I would never want, and I would not want it on anybody else. Well, almost anybody. I could think of a few people, but hey, that kind of thing. All right, but let's get back to the series. Another another great example of Jesus uh, having having disciples and calling on people to follow him, and them saying, "Yes, here's a great example. Matthew, ouch, the tax collector. Um, this poor guy, he was just a tax collector, man. He was collecting for the Romans, and he is not popular. He's not popular with his own people. He's not popular, so to say, with the Romans. This poor kid is not popular at all. And if you've seen his mannerisms at all on the show, I can't help but think that it's quite possible that Matthew is autistic. I mean, I recognize a few of those signs. My daughter's autistic, love her to death, uh, light of my life, and all of that. And I think it's the same thing for Matthew. Well, Matthew doesn't really see Jesus all that often in season one. I mean, he sees him enough, but they never come face to face with each other. And one day, oh, what was this? Episode 7, I think. I think it was episode 7 or 8. I could be wrong. One day, Jesus and his disciples are walking along. You got Simon. You got Simon. You got Mary. You got Andrew. You got James, John. You got the whole band, and Jesus leading the way. And they're just walking through town. And they pass by Matthew's office, or whatever you want to call that thing, where he takes up the collections. And then and you see Matthew watching Jesus and the disciples walking along, and you sort of see this kind of inner conflict going on. He's like, I really want to follow that guy. I want to know that guy. I want to talk to him and all of these things. And Jesus, Jesus just all of a sudden stops, turns around, and looks at Matthew through his little cage window. And that's what it looks like. It looks like a little iron cage window. Okay, and Jesus just basically looks at Matthew. He says, Matthew. And Matthew's looking at him. He's paying attention. Matthew's not stupid. He's not stupid by any means. And Jesus looks at him and he says, follow me. Just very simply, 2 words. Follow me. You know, and Matthew is looking at him, and not even a minute later, he's closing up shop He gets his things, the thing, whatever belongs to him. Takes the key, and Gaius is standing outside, the Roman soldier Gaius. And he and Matthew have had a very awkward relationship for some time and everything. Matthew comes out of his little office thingy, locks the door, and Gaius is like, "What are you doing?" And I mean, he's got a valid point. Matthew is making good money, and he's got a higher position that a lot of Romans would really love to have. He's just a tax collector, but that's okay because Matthew is making plenty of cash. He's doing really well with the Romans. Um, Quintus, his boss, was really happy with him, but he would not be so happy once he once he finds out what Matthew does. Matthew says, "Look, I know we." He's talking to Gaius. He says, "Look, I know we've been friends, sort of off and on. We've done good things for each other, and he did cause Gaius to get a promotion at some point. I'm not even sure that's in the series. I don't know. Um, could have been in the first episode, but I really don't remember. But he says that he and Gaius have been fair to each other. They've been civil to each other for a long period of time. But Matthew's mind is made up. He wants to follow Jesus. He says, I'm going. I don't care what you say. I'm out of here," which is basically what he does. And he gives Gaius the key to the office and takes off. And would you believe that not one person is brave enough to throw a rock at Matthew once he joins Jesus' party, joins his disciples? You think anybody's going to throw a rock at somebody in Jesus' crew? Oh no. Baby. Forget about that. Those days are over. It's like disciple security or something. I don't know. But Matthew leaves his position as the tax collector, which Gaius does not know how he's going to explain that to Quintus, and it makes Quintus pretty mad. But Matthew joined Jesus and his crowd, and just got to learn the truth from the man himself, from the Son of God himself. And he felt a lot more appreciated and accepted with Jesus and his disciples in a way that he never done before. He never felt that accepted before. He never felt that appreciated by anybody, not even his own family, if I remember that right. So Matthew joining Jesus and his disciples was a very big plus for him. And I thought it was a really great part in the series. Let's see who else. Simon. There's also the story about Simon when he joined Jesus and his. Let's see, who was it exactly? Simon, John, and James, three, ouch, three fishermen who joined Jesus after a really bad night's fishing. I mean, these guys couldn't catch anything. And Simon was the one who was really in trouble. I keep wanting to say Peter, but Simon was the one who was in a lot of trouble with the Romans. Quintus was convinced that Simon had double crossed him and he wanted his head. But the following morning, Simon is ready to give up. He's ready to call it quits. He'll go to Quintus. He's going to be like, "Let them have my head." And Jesus and some of his pupils show up. Among them, his some of his disciples. You got Mary there. You've got I don't know who else, but you got a big crowd of students there listening to Jesus preach. And let's see, Simon, Andrew, What was that other guy's name? Simon's brother, I think. Either his either his brother or his best friend. I can't remember which one it was. But anyway, both the boats come up to the shore, and they are ready to go home. Simon is ready to give up. He is ready to go turn himself in to the Romans. Matthew is there. This is before Matthew joined. Okay, I got to help you stay keep that straight. And Simon's ready to go home. Jesus comes down and he wants to conclude his teaching with a story about fishing. So he does that, and after the lesson is over, everybody else just starts to leave. Mary is still there, and a couple of disciples. I still can't remember their names. Wait, but okay. Simon Simon just basically wants to leave, and Jesus tells him, "Look, one more time, take the net, cast it in the water." Now Simon and the guys, and John and James, and whoever else, are really really tired. Andrew, I think, is the other guy's name. I think it is. Don't quote me. The guys are exhausted. Simon more than anybody else because he's been trying to fish, you know, the later part of the afternoon, all night. And it's early morning, and Jesus is there, and he's telling him to throw the net in one more time. So Simon's like, oh, I want to go home. I want to go to sleep. I want to turn myself into the Romans. I don't know what I'm going to do. But rather than throw a hissy fit, he decides, all right, one more time. And he tells the other guys, okay, lower the net in the water one more time. And you can already see how close he is to wanting to tell somebody off. But fortunately for him, he's smart enough to keep his mouth shut and just go ahead and do what Jesus says. So they put the net in the water. They waited, I don't know, a couple of minutes, I guess. And then the next thing you see is the boat being tipped, really being tipped because everybody's having to hold on to something, because the boat is like tipping over. And everybody's panicking. Simon's panicking. He's like, "Wait a minute, what are we? What the what?" And they grab the net. They start pulling up. He and Andrew are pulling, and John and James on the other side are pulling up. No, they were all in the same boat. Scratch that. And they're pulling it up and everything, and it's like everybody pull, 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 and the next thing they know, they have a fish that is not only full. They pull the net up that is absolutely full of fish. Did I say it right this time? It is not only full of fish, but there are enough fish in that net that it's actually pulling the boat over. So the humans, have to try to keep the boat from going over by running to the other side. And a couple of guys are out in the water, and they're having to run up to the net and push the net from under the water and push the net onto the boat with everything they have, and they don't have a whole lot of strength left. These guys are exhausted. Remember this now. It's going to be a quiz later. But they finally get the net into the boat. All of the fish into the boat. People themselves, the guys themselves, into the boat. And they're having to try to stay on the other side of the boat so they don't help the fish capsize the boat. So once everybody sees what's happening, all of this, and I mean that boat is filled up. There is no more room on the boat for fish. I mean, it is absolutely full. If there's any fish left, they're doing the smart thing and jumping out of that boat back into the water. They really are, man. They may be fish. That doesn't mean they're stupid. And Simon, it's a really great moment for Simon because he sees that there is a way that he can not only keep his head, but now he can start over again. And he jumps out of the boat, walks up in front of Jesus, and just he, he he's he's in pieces. The poor guy is in pieces, honestly. And he just falls to his knees and he's a he's like, "Command me, Lord. Tell me what do you want from me? What you want, I will do." And he just absolutely decides then and there he's going to follow Jesus and become one of his disciples. It was a very simple moment for him at that point. And I think again Jesus said the two words, said, "Follow me, follow me." Yes. And Peter just, I mean, Simon just looks at him and says, "Yes, I will follow you." I mean, he does have a wife that he needs to explain this to, but that's okay. We'll get to that later. And he just agrees at the spur of the moment to follow Jesus, no matter where he goes. Anywhere he wants to go, Simon will follow. Everywhere he wants to go, Simon will follow. It is a decision that is made just like that. But I can't do that. And he's good at his word. You know, he may have made a lot of mistakes in the past, but to this he's good at his word. And I think that's a really great moment in the series for Simon. I think what's really great about the series is the fact that they're not trying to play it up with a lot of special effects. They're not trying to do that. They're not trying to sell you another Star Wars movie, anything like that. It's not anything like that. I mean, this is simply storytelling, and they take very simple chapters from Jesus' life and they adapt it to the series. They adapt it to the episodes, and they don't do it so that they're talking down to you or acting down to you. There's nothing condescending about it. I mean, when you start from episode 1 in season 1 all the way through episode 8, you are getting straightforward storytelling. And not only that, but also a lot of the sequences that are needed are very well directed. I mean, you got to give a lot of kudos to what's his name, Dallas Jenkins, I think his name is the director, who is also the creator of the show. He created it, uh, co-writes co-writes it, and directs it. I mean, this guy's got a full plate with this series, and he's done a terrific job helping bring it to the screen and everything, along with the cast. But I think it's just I think it's a wonderful show. I think if you have some questions about what kind of people Jesus' disciples were in the beginning before they joined him, this is a great series to learn about them. You can learn about them. You can learn about more about Jesus. You can learn about how he lived. I mean, everybody else was living in the city. I forget what city they were in, but Jesus himself was living um, on the outskirts of the city. He was living in an itty bitty little tent, campfire, a bench where he would work. He would do. He'd be making crafts and stuff like that. That's where he lived. He lived on the outskirts of the city. You might say outside of it itself. I'm not entirely sure, but it seems most likely. And this is the son. This is the son of God, man. This is a guy who could have been living in squalor. Could have been living like a Pharisee. Like Nicodemus. Nicodemus had this really proud house. He had servants. He had a beautiful wife, all decked out. Dressed to the nines in finest clothing and everything. And Nicodemus wasn't a bad dresser himself. I mean, he had a really good wardrobe, and he wore the black and whites for the office and all that. And he did his thing as a Pharisee. I almost said heresy. I apologize for that. But he did his gig as a Pharisee, and was able to keep his position, for a long time. Jesus could have lived like that, with a great wardrobe and everything. I mean, I don't know how he would have done, how he would have made the money, but he chose to live simply, live to live in accordance to his Father's word, to God's word, and he did a terrific job of just simply providing for himself. But being who he was also able to provide for others, which I think is a great aspect in the storytelling. You know, uh, oh boy, I'm suddenly starting to get tired. It's been a couple of days since I watched any more episodes. It's been the weekend already, and here we are. It's what is it? It's Tuesday morning. It's like 20 minutes to 4 in the morning, and I've tried to shoot this already, but things kept interrupting. Dogs barking, stuff like that. So I was like, okay, yeah, I gotta wait till everybody's asleep. Wait till the dogs are asleep, and then I'll try it again. So hey, what can I do? When dogs start barking like that, you can't even edit that stuff out, man. It's a pain. It really is. But I'm looking I'm looking forward to season two. I'm going to be happy to get into that, see where that goes. And also, there's season four coming up. Um, for those of you that have already been watching it and been keeping up with it a lot better than I have. But I think in season four, Jesus will be bringing Lazarus back from the dead. That was part of the trailer for it, so that's going to be interesting. I hadn't really seen that before, um, in a series or in a movie or anything like that. But anyway, I've had a wonderful time watching season one. I'm really looking forward to season two and seeing what all is going to happen in that. That's going to be great. And I think if you've never been into this sort of thing before, but if you have just a little bit of interest in it, I think you should give it a try. Just try the first episode or the first two episodes. See what you think for yourself. And if you do like it, and if you do get something out of it, I mean, you could watch the whole season, the whole first season. Why not? Nothing wrong with it. I mean, you don't have to run through the streets or anything and telling everybody about it. I mean, it's not a bad thing. If you want to keep it to yourself, you can keep it to yourself. If you want to tell somebody who might have recommended it to you could tell them about it. I mean, they're already gonna know, but you could tell them, hey, that show you were telling me about, you thought I should check out. Yeah, what about it? I tried it out. It's pretty cool. Great. I told you you'd like it. Yes, you did. Good, right. The Chosen is a really good show. I can only wonder how much time went into how much time went into writing the scripts for this. Whenever I would write a script, it would write a script for something. It would take me oh man that hurts. It'd take me a few weeks at least, depending on what the script was for. For some short films that I used to do, well, it could take a week. It could take a couple of weeks. It really had to depend on what I was writing it for, what it was for. But to write for a series, for a TV series, I can only wonder. So it's like, all right, this guy must have really got. He must have known what he was getting himself into when he was pitching this idea to the studio heads, So it must have been really something else for him, you know. But anyway, um, I think that's going to do it for this video. And just if you have any interest at all in this series, or if you want to get back to the Bible and get back to trying to get right with the things that you believe in, or maybe you don't feel like you believed in them as much as you thought you did. That's okay. All you need to do is just consider the idea for yourself. See if that's what you want to do. If you want to get back into the Bible, if you want to get right with God, that's great. You can do that for yourself. You don't have to do it for anybody else. You can just do it for yourself and just see how it feels for you. I'm not trying to preach. I'm doing this for myself. I'm not doing this because anybody else told me to do it. I mean, look at me. I'm sitting alone in a bedroom, a guest bedroom. Come on. The biggest reason that I did it, that I did this, that I watched The Chosen to begin with, was because I was intrigued by it. And I told a friend of mine that. I told Tina about it, a friend of mine. I said, "Have you heard of a series called The Chosen? It's on Netflix." And I said, "I'm really intrigued by it." That's what I said. "I'm really intrigued by it." She said, "Yeah, I love it. It's a wonderful show. I think it'd be great for you." I said, "Okay, cool. I'll give it a try." And I did. That was all that it was. I just wanted to. My tongue is getting numb again. It was all that it was. I wanted to do it for me, for myself, because I'm in a place where I question a lot of things. And watching that show brings a lot of things into focus for me. I don't know if it'll bring things into focus for you or not. If it does, and if it helps you understand certain things better in your life, okay, great. I think that's terrific. But it has to be up to you. Nobody else can tell you to do this. Nobody can tell you not to do that. If you want to do this, do this. If you don't want to do this, don't do this. Like I said, nobody's telling you not to do it. Nobody's telling you to do it. Just give it a little chance if you want to. If not, there's plenty of other stuff on TV. But this I can relate to. That's all I'm trying to say. It's a good option in comparison to bad programming. So that's all I'm trying to say. All right, like I said, no more soapbox. I don't think I got on the soapbox anywhere. I don't think there's a soapbox that could hold me. Not funny. But that's it for tonight's video. I should say today's video. This is codyTV. I'm Cody. What can I say? Uh, I hope if you if you get something out of the chosen, that's great. That's wonderful. I hope you're able to take that with you and enjoy it for the rest of the day. Give you something to think about for the rest of the day. And if it does, that's terrific. So, all right, I'm out of here before the dogs wake up. And I hope everybody's having a great day. Well, you won't be having a great day just yet because it's only what, yeah, it's 10 minutes to 4. So I'm the only idiot that's awake at this hour. Oh boy, I need a life. Um, but I hope you have a great day. I hope your morning starts out good, and just whatever you do today, try to have a little fun out of it. Little fun is always good. So, all right, I'm out of here. Oh yeah, that's right. The next video, I'll be talking about Star Wars and how it's been run into the ground, woke Disney and all that stuff. Right. Thank you, Kathleen Kennedy, traitor. Uh, and I'm actually going to hold off on that video for a couple of days. I want to do some reading up, do some digging, to see what else might be included with Star Wars going belly up. And I want to be able to talk about the next movies that they're going to do, which I think is such a mistake. They should just go ahead and bury it now that they've already destroyed everything. Um, but anyway, I'll be talking about Star Wars in the next video. And if you're a fan, great. If you're not, great. Everybody has a choice. Everybody has an opinion. It's great. It's like everybody's got a nose. uh, the nose knows what it likes, and the nose knows what it does not like. Okay, that's my improv for this time. So, all right, I'm out of here. I've got to stop doing that. That still hurts. All right, later, people. Bye.